Knives and chopping boards. In this lesson, we'll be looking at the different types of knives you find behind a bar, the importance of sharpness, how to use knives safely, how to keep your knives clean, how to store knives safely, and the roles that chopping boards play with knives. Let's look at the types of knives you'll find. In any bar, there will usually be a whole selection of different shapes, sizes, and types of knives. It's important to know each of these and what they are used for. The first knife is small, easy to manage, and intensely sharp, the paring knife. This can be used when preparing garnishes and should only ever be used on foodstuffs. The next type of knife is known as a chef's knife and is much larger, heavier, and can tend to get in the way when you are working with small, fine, and detailed garnishes. For this reason, bars tend to leave the chef's knife in the kitchen. Finally, there is the very small turning knife, which is used when something very intricate and detailed needs to be done. Now let's look at the importance of sharpness. A sharp knife makes cutting much easier and will make preparing garnishes quick and effortless. However, using a knife often causes it to blunt, so it is important to take the bar knives to the kitchen regularly where they can be sharpened. Ideally, you should ask somebody in the kitchen or scullery to teach you how to sharpen the knives yourself. This way you can sharpen your knives yourself when they start to go blunt. Next, using knives safely. When cutting, you should always curl your fingers inwards to remove any chance of you accidentally chopping off the tip of one of your fingers. Furthermore, be sure to also take your thumb away underneath your hand to remove it from any danger. A golden rule of knives is to never ever use them for things like opening packets, bottles, cans, or other items. This will not only damage the knife, but could also lead to injury. Now let's look at keeping your knives clean. In order to maintain hygiene and cleanliness, you should always clean your knives and chopping boards after each use. This is because chopping something like an apple on a board that is covered in lemon juice will spoil the flavor of the apple. Even worse than this, cutting with a dirty knife will not only make your garnish look and taste terrible, but will also be unhygienic for your guests. Would you like to eat something that has been cut with this knife? I hope not. To avoid this, make it a habit to clean your knife and chopping board with hot water and a damp cloth after each use. When cutting strongly flavored items, like an onion, make sure to replace the chopping board and knife entirely after each use, or turn the chopping board over to work on the other clean side of it. This is because things like an onion will leave a strong flavor on the board, and until it can be washed thoroughly, it is better to avoid using it. When cleaning knives after service, it is crucial to clean each one by hand and to clean them individually in hot, soapy water. This is because if you wash your knives in a washing machine, your knives may bash around against plates or other cutlery, thereby blunting the blade or damaging the handle. Next, storing knives. Make sure that you choose a set place in your bar to store your knives, and that everybody in the bar knows where this place is. Not only will a poorly stored knife blunt faster, but it is also dangerous for colleagues who don't know that the knife is stored there. Make sure that the storage place is visible, planned, and communicated to all your colleagues. Finally, a knife's best friend, the chopping board. The last thing to know about knives is that you must always use a chopping board when cutting with a knife. Make sure that you never cut anything with a knife on the bar surface, on a plate, or on a tray. Not only is this dangerous, with the surfaces potentially being slippery, but you may also damage both the surface and the knife. Chopping boards are specially designed to handle knife work, and they are less likely to slide around and cause mistakes. Along with this, you can always be sure that you are working on a clean surface if you are using the same board every time. Finally, just like chopping boards must always be used with knives, whenever you are using any other tools to prepare a garnish, you must always have either a chopping board or a bowl underneath the garnish that you are preparing. This is so that any mess or garnish that does come from using the tool can be caught. Not only are these clean surfaces for your garnishes to be on, but they also gather all your waste into a single place, making it easy to then get rid of once you are finished preparing your garnish. This brings us to the end of the lesson on knives and chopping boards, the most commonly used pieces of equipment when it comes to creating garnishes in your bar. Well done!